Hello, listener. Welcome to the April edition of the Ipsum Art and Soul Show. On this month's show, we have interviews with Martin Kelly from Disability Experts and Liz Doyle, a dietitian from AWP. Also, we have the usual collection of poetry, music and reviews. Keep your ears peeled for today's show.
We have chosen Breathe by The Prodigy to open this month's radio show in memory of Keith Flint.
That was Breathe by The Prodigy, and now a poem by Sue called It's Not a Choice.
We jump in with our judgments, with our pronouncements on someone else's predicament. We'll argue that if you smoke or drink or eat too much, or stay unprotected in the sun too much, you'll mess with your biology. You're heading for oncology. That's not the same as saying you're asking for it, is it? Did you? Did you? Did you choose to get bronchitis? What about that crippling arthritis? Was it something you did wrong that led to your myalgic encephalomyelitis? That's ME to me and you. Did you ask to get the flu? Did you do it? Was it you? Did you plan to have that accident? Need benefits to pay the rent? Be dependent and feel so bad and lose the life you thought you had? So, this morning when you dressed, did you decide to be depressed? Or did you opt to be obsessed with all the detail of your day? Did you want to hear those voices, scream and whisper their abuses in your tired and battered eardrum as you struggled through today? Did you bring on your confusion? Is dementia of your choosing? Do you decide to forget stuff? To repeat yourself? To repeat yourself? To repeat yourself? Just to annoy us? And if you found that your reality is a disordered personality, is it really because of what you did? I somehow don't think so. Please don't judge. I could do with a little empathy before you judge my incapacity. This is my reality. I'm doing the best I can.
Hello, this is Justin Tuffill, and this is Another One Bites the Dust, Cue Those Glad Hands by Queen.
Walks further down the street with the brim pulled way down low. Ain't no sound but the sound of speed. Machine guns ready to go. Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Out of the doorway, the bullets rip to the sound of the beat. Yeah. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. How do you think I'm gonna get along without you when you're gone? You took me for everything that I had and kicked me out of my own. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? How long can you stand the heat? Out of the doorway, the bullets rip to the sound of the beat. Look out! Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. Hey! Oh, take it! Dust! By the dust! Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Ow! Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey! Another one bites the dust. Hey! Ooh, shut up. There are plenty of ways that you can hurt a man and bring him to the ground. You can beat him, you can cheat him, you can treat him bad, or you leave him when he's down. Yeah. But I'm ready, yes, I'm ready for you. I'm standing on my own two feet. Out the doorway, the bullets rip, repeating to the sound of beats. Oh, yeah. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. Shoot out. Hey. All right.
From Another One Bites the Dust to a poem by John Joe called No Blame or Guilt.
To free myself of lack of decision, to be of use in a place of confusion, to be fully aware of the bigger picture, to know the truth of man's existence, My body is a haven where my soul does rest. My sin is an illusion of shame and disgust. I find not wealth, but an image eternal. I bring to this world only food for thought. To present myself to my betters and authority, no glamour or pretence to strike one blind. To be judged by values alien to my own. To lie in a gutter of streets paved with gold. No blame or guilt for distribution, no war or fighting as a desperate solution. Only words to observe man's condition. Pity me, pity thee, pity me.
From John Joe's poem to Rock the Casbah by The Clash.
From Rock the Casbah by The Clash to a new feature, Andrew's foodie tip of the month.
It's Andrew's food tip of the month.
This month, my foodie tip is my mum's cooking. So, I did not hear about this curry for a long, long time until my mum cooked it one day. I prefer it to any other curry in any place you can get a curry from. The vegetable, the ingredients is pure minced beef mixed with a Savoy type of a cabbage and spices and rice, but the rice is cooked separately, obviously. Before I tasted this curry, I didn't know what I was missing. I've tried curries all over Swindon from places, quite a few places. My mum cooked it one day for me, and ever since she did that, and over again, it's so delicious. It's better than any other curry I've had from the curry chain in Swindon. Thank you. My mum's cabbage curry.
From Andrew's foodie tip of the month to part 1 of an interview with Martin Kelly from Disability Experts. Second part will be in next month's show.
We welcome to today's show Martin Kelly from Disability Experts, an organisation based in Swindon. Martin, can you tell us a bit about the organisation, how it came about and how it's evolved over the last few years?
Yeah, well, it came about when I became disabled myself. I've been working with people with disabilities for 30 years or so now, but 10 years ago I became disabled myself following a stroke, and found myself out of work and found that there was no support services available for people like me. The things that were available were to help me into work were basic math skills, basic numeracy, basic literacy skills, basic computer skills, which were always followed with the tagline of it's something to put on your CV. And my CV was okay. I have a MA in ethics and social welfare, so there wasn't really going to be much that a basic computer skills course was going to do for me.
No.
So based on that, I decided, well, there's got to be something. So we set up a service that was predominantly to help people into employment, but it's developed further into helping people to live as independently as they possibly can.
Oh, that's great. So you're based in Swindon. When did you set this up?
Well, I started off doing it freelance, just me, in my spare bedroom in about 2014, 2015. And then my wife started complaining because it grew out of the spare bedroom and started to move into the living room.
Right.
And then when it started to take over the kitchen table, she told me that I'm going to get a training room and I'm going to get an office somewhere. So I did, and we're now based in Voluntary Action Swindon. We've got a training room in there and an admin office. And that's right opposite the Casbah in town, so most people know where it is.
That's it, yeah, on John Street there.
On John Street, that's right, yeah.
I've visited you quite a few times with the different people and different
You have
occasions.
indeed.
Yeah, it's a great service. It's good. The training room is excellent, isn't it? Because you've got a number of terminals there, so people can access information. Is that right? Look at jobs, searches.
We strike the right balance, really. We've got it's a small room, so if people are uncomfortable being surrounded by lots of people, there's 6 computer terminals there. We run a job club every Monday afternoon between 1 and 3, and people can just come in and use a computer, log on to their universal credit log so that they can see what their job coaches are saying to them. They can leave messages for their job coaches because, if you're on benefits, you can't always afford to have credit on your phone so that you can log on.
Okay. And you provide one-to-one support for people, is that right?
Yes,
in terms
we do.
of specific needs, as it were.
Yes, we do. Again, whereas a lot of organisations will say these are the things that we do, and you fit in with what we do. We build a programme around the person, so it'll start off with we'll have a chat with the person. We'll invite them in so that they can see how we work and see if they're comfortable with it. If they are comfortable with it, we'll have some one-to-one time with them, see exactly what it is that they want to do. It might be a computer course. They might want some help writing the CV. Might want some help writing a good application for a job that they want to do. They might want to get their CSCS card so that they can work in the construction industry, and that's something that we do. But we tend to work in small groups or on a one-to-one basis, but both those services are available depending on what the person wants.
You mentioned the groups. Can you tell us a bit about the groups? You run several different groups, don't you, in terms of needs?
Yeah, we do. We have a confidence building course, and I know some people, when they hear the term confidence building course, will begin to recoil a little bit from that. But we're not the kind of happy clappy type of confidence building course. We give you help you to work out where the stem of your lack of confidence comes from and help you to build up on that yourself, so you take ownership of it. And that's not to say, when the course is over that, never darken our doorstep again, because we all have dips in confidence. We all have issues that can happen. Even healthcare professionals have that. You know, and we'll always speak with somebody, but the definitive course is just a short course, and it's very much based on being able to help yourself, being able to identify the issues that affect your confidence. Most people, it is assessing themselves unfairly against other people, in as much as, you know, anybody that you work with or anybody that you admire, you only ever see the best of them, whereas you're aware of all of your life, the good bits and the bad bits, and you tend to measure your bad bits against the best bits of who you're comparing yourself to. And it's to try and help you to break that habit of doing that, because obviously if you're comparing yourself unfairly like that, it means that you're never gonna feel better about yourself. So we kind of take that into account and say, well, you know, look at all of this good stuff that you do, and you don't see when a supermodel wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Unfortunately not.
No. Well, you know, I've had my moments, but those days are long behind me now, and I'm very, very happily married. Hello, dear. You know, so we don't have, you know, we don't have those situations where, you know, like, we don't see famous people when they look like they've been dragged through a hedge backwards. Yet we often look at ourselves at 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, and we don't look at our best, but we compare ourselves unfavourably against those images.
And there are a number of other courses you do as well. There's an array of different things.
Yeah, there's lots of things that we do. We can help people with their literacy and numeracy. We'll help people with money management. We do a My Money, My Choices course, which helps people who are on low incomes, which unfortunately most people with mental health difficulties are, because they're on benefits. We help with that, but also while we're helping people into employment, we help them through the transition period of being on benefits and moving on to living on wages, and how to manage the budget differences that you go through. So, you know, as I say, we build the programme around the person depending on how they develop along their time with us.
It's unique to the individual, so it's a very personal service, isn't it?
It is an extremely
tailored.
Absolutely. And
Right.
again, that goes back to what I said earlier on about when I looked at what was available for me, it just wasn't suitable because it didn't meet my needs. So we're very aware of making sure that we meet the needs of the person and don't lump everybody together and go, this is what you need.
From part 1 of the Martin Kelly interview to a track by 58 Shakes called Brand New Day, recorded in the Ipsum studio.
Ain't got no money, ain't got no shares, got nobody waiting for me, who cares? Ain't got no wristwatch, ain't got no cards to play. All I got's this brand new day. I sit by the window watching these cars go by. I could open the window and just fly, fly, fly. Ain't got no money,
This month's first joke chosen by Andrew.
So I thought I'd go to the doctor's. I said, "Hi, doctor." He said to me, "Oh, hello, Andrew. Long time no see." I said, "Oh, I think I've got a phobia of hurdles or something. I don't like them." Oh, basically, get over it.
And now a song by Subject A called Get Yourself Into the Light.
Oh, I need you to see me and come set me free. 'Cause these four walls, they won't let me be. Oh, take me anywhere, anywhere but here. Come get me out and remove my fears. You gotta get yourself into the light, is what she said to me, and then she told me I should break free from the chains that have held me down, and taking so much life from me now.
That was Subject A called Get Yourself Into the Light.
I went to the beach the other day and there was all this meat floating in the water. So I turned to my friend and said, "It's a bit choppy today, isn't it? Ha ha ha, boom boom."
Thanks for the hilarity, Justin. But now let's get serious.
I am Katie Ward, and today we welcome Liz Doyle into the studio. Liz is a dietitian from the AWP team in the NHS. I'm going to find out more about her role and her journey to this career.
I'm a dietitian, as you said, in AWP. My role consists of working with inpatients within the hospital, but also with community patients. So as a dietitian, I see people for one-to-one sort of consultations to do with their diet and how I could help change them to help better either their physical health or even sometimes their mental health. My role is pretty varied in the job I'm doing at the moment. So I have cooking sessions, I do sort of group presentations, sometimes I do talks to doctors, sometimes radio interviews like this, or just consultations, counselling, for dietary sort of changes for people.
Oh, it sounds like a very varied role and that you should have a different thing every day.
Definitely.
One question I had was, what's the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionalist?
Well, basically, a dietitian is a medically trained nutrition advisor, really. So a dietitian has had to go to university and get a degree, and we're the only profession that's sort of recognised by medics. So, like a GP or pharmacist, we work with sort of the pharmacological side, how medicines interact with the diet, but also physical changes in your health and how diet might be able to help. So a nutritionist, they can go to university as well, but they'll have studied a degree in just nutrition based only, or have A-levels in nutrition. So you could be a nutritionist and not gone to university. Whereas a dietitian, as I say, it's medically recognised. You're a protected profession, so it means you have to join your professional organisation. So we're on a register where we're recognised, and we have to do continued professional development. So you have to constantly go on courses to refresh your training, be knowledgeable about new things that are going on. We have magazines monthly saying about the different research that's going on in our field and what's been proven. So basically we can only ever speak and give advice about diet with stuff that's definitely evidence-based. So it has to have the research, the backing behind it, and be proven. So obviously we all hear about fad diets that are going on, etc., but we can't usually sort of grounds or backing to it.
This career that you're in now as a dietitian, did you always want to do that?
I didn't know what I wanted to do, to be honest.
That's often the case.
It is, yeah. So, when I left, went to university, I did a degree in human biology, first of all. So I knew I liked the body. I liked psychology. I liked nutrition. I liked biochemistry. And a lot of people go on to become a dietitian as a postgraduate course, which was what I did. So I did a diploma and a master's in it. And you always have to have a biochemistry degree or a biology degree as a first degree before it. Well, some people go straight into dietetics, and it's a 4-year degree course. And then you do pharmacology, you do anatomy, you do biochemistry, as well as nutrition. So you really got to know and understand a lot about the body, what's going on.
Yeah.
And sort of some of the medicines that are in practice and how they interact in the body and can affect sometimes taste, weight, other changes, other oral sort of changes of stuff, and sort of gastro changes that happen through some medicines, and how that might affect someone's sort of dietary intake or fluids as well. So the question I probably diverted a little bit. Is it what I always wanted to do? No, it wasn't, but I was always interested in health and nutrition. So it kind of came about later in my 20s, and that's when I went back to study to do it.
So you mentioned before that you do presentations and you do groups. I go to your cooking group as part of my recovery, and I just wondered if you could talk some more about the aims of that you do in the community.
It's been really interesting. I've moved into the early intervention team under Avon and Wiltshire Mental Health Trust only in the last year, and so my role sort of has changed and evolved with them. And they had a social lunch group which was already up and running, and when I joined the team, they very much wanted me to start going along to these social lunches to have more of a push and more of an influence into what they're preparing. And when we go around the shops and look for the ingredients we're going to cook for a recipe, and have more of an influence on talking about things that we are choosing and trying to get healthier choices, healthier options to make some of the normal foods that people would like to cook or do eat, or getting them more interested in eating again and trying to cook and cater for themselves, but with the very sort of healthy eating influence. Because a lot of people who are on antipsychotic medications or antidepressants, they have a lot of problems, sometimes associated with weight gain often, or sometimes it's to do with the nature of their mental health illness. They have problems with apathy or lethargy, not wanting to eat, not wanting to eat the right types of foods. Sometimes only wanting to have, say, high fat foods, high sugary foods, to get that sort of quick influx of the feel good sort of factor of the sugars and fats. And so my sort of influence was coming into the group to help people make healthier choices or become a bit more aware of what they might be choosing and buying. So that helps a little bit, I hope. Also, sometimes we have just talks and chats at the dinner table, sometimes about nutrition and food, sometimes not. But sort of the key thing is there sort of have a sort of open discussion, easy talks about nutrition. Sometimes I've brought along some models like sugar cube models, and I've talked about the different fizzy drinks that are out there, or sugars in tea and coffee. and other drinks, a lot of the energy drinks, for example, and sort of done some of those sort of show and tell times where sort of showing how much sugar there is and alternatives they could use and choose. And sometimes I've just shown them sort of plate models of the healthy eating, different nutrients to eat, etc. So it changes each week, but generally it's around what we're buying, what we're choosing, and trying to get the interest into cooking again and you know, get that enthusiasm going, get the enjoyment in the kitchen going.
No, that sounds great, and I definitely get a lot out of going to that group.
That was the first part of Katie's interview with Liz Doyle. Part 2 is coming up after this most appropriate piece of music, which is Hey Good Lookin', What You Got Cookin' by Norma Jean.
Say, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? Hey, sweet baby, don't you think maybe we could find us a brand new recipe? I got a hot rod board and a $2 bill. I know a spot right over the hill. There's soda pop and the dancing's free. So if you wanna have fun, come along with me. Say, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? I'm free and ready, so we can go steady. How's about saving all of your time for me? No more looking, I know I've been tooken. How's about keeping steady company? I'm gonna throw my day cook over the fence, find me 1 for 5 or 10 cents. I'll keep it till it's covered with age, 'cause I'm writing your name down on every page. Say, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? How's about cooking something up with me?
Would you recommend 1 or 2 top dishes that people could make themselves to look after their mental health?
Top dishes to look after their mental health. Top dishes of the fortnight then, hey? There's been one recently that was really good, that was really popular. It was one with, and I know you liked it, Katie, I can't remember what it was called, but it was with mackerel, creme fraiche, pasta. And I would say that was a popular choice because other people have come back to me and said that they've made that dish again. So not only yourself, but 2 other people.
So it was easy for people to replicate that at home.
Easy to replicate. And I say it'd be a top dish for mental health in the fact that it's got the omega-3 oils in. So from the mackerel fish being an oily fish, there's these oils that are very beneficial for heart health, but also mental health. And it has been proven that they're really good to help sort of bring people up from depression, basically. And people who have a lot more of the omega-3 oils in their diet have less sort of slips about going back into depressive episodes. I say that's one. We've done other fish ones. We've done some with salmon, so something sort of similar. We've done salmon and rice. We do all sorts there. We do just like the typical sort of shepherd's pie, and what do we do? Sticky chicken drumsticks, I think, this week, and sweet potato wedges.
So it's really varied. There's all different choices that somebody's going to find something that they like.
Yeah, and that's what I try and ask. We always try and ask people whether they've got any ideas or opinions, what they'd like to do, because I very much want to get people to say what they'd like to do or try something, or there's been something they enjoyed in their childhood even, but they have never learned to make it or haven't had it for a long time, and could we make it? And yes, could we make it in maybe a healthier way, or is it okay in the way that it comes, that dish, and just talk. Yeah, it is varied, basically.
Yeah, it's lots of fun cooking with you.
Thank you very much. I like it.
You've talked a bit about the links between mental health and diet, but I just wondered, is there anything very current that's come up through your learnings or that you've picked up?
There is currently a lot of research going on with probiotics and the gut health and with mental health. It has been going on for a few years. There's they've definitely found that there's links with people who have not a lot of, it boils down to good amounts of fibre in your diet and your gut health, having the right types of bacteria, and a lot of bacteria you get from different fibres in your food, so namely having a very good fruit and vegetable intake. Also from a lot of the dairy products you get a lot of bacterias like live yogurt, which can be very beneficial for our gut health. And they have found that many people with many different mental health illnesses have much lower levels of, and we've got billions of bacteria in our guts, and they found a lot of people have very low levels of a lot of the different types of bacteria. And they're doing research at the moment with probiotics to say they're kind of like the live yogurts, or you get things like Yakult or Actimel, just to name a few, but I'm not paid by any of these companies, but you get even the supermarket's own varieties. There's research going on in that area, and find, early sort of evidence suggesting, it helps bring back people's gut bacteria to the levels that it should be, like normal levels, and thereby they've been improving mental health. And they don't really understand yet why it happens, but that's what they're trying to sort of find out. So also with I was saying fibre, so a lot of things like it's something like pickles and sauerkraut, a lot of the very, very pickled type of like chutneys as well. People and they found it again, it's usually from certain countries where they have a lot of this staples in their diets, have less levels of, say, some physical health or some mental health. So that's where sort of first interests come about, when they find that sort of certain people from certain countries have less of a certain illness or problems, and then they work out what it is, what's different in their diets.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Or medications or whatever it is. But yeah, that's sort of the current.
So it's varied across countries.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is. So, I mean, that's how they sort of found out that, diets high in fruit and vegetables, like the Mediterranean diet, lower in, say, the red meats, and the higher in the omega oils. So it was a lot from the fish and the nuts. So they found out that the Mediterranean diets, people around those areas were having less of sort of diabetes, less of heart disease, and the same with like over in Japan as well. They had very much less of all sort of bowel cancers and stomach cancers, and they had better heart health. They didn't have so many heart diseases. And over the years, over the sort of decades, finding out what is it specifically in the diets. So often it is these very lean proteins and meats with high omega-3 oils if it's the fish, and also diets really beneficial in the fibre from fruit and vegetables. So that's why we always hear this massive emphasis on you must try and eat 5 a day, or at the moment over the last year it's been about we should be eating 10 portions of fruit and veg a day, which I know is quite unrealistic for a lot of people, but it's actually they are finding out that people who have such high levels have a lot lower of sort of, it's basically bowel health, bowel diseases, bowel cancers basically, and stomach cancers. Yeah. I can't remember the question, but I probably diverged off again.
Yeah, no, the question was just if you could tell us any more links between mental health and diet, and you've gone into a lot of detail with that, so that's great. Now that brings us to the end of the interview, okay. So thank you very much for coming in today.
It's my pleasure.
I've learned a lot about healthy eating and how to hopefully improve my mental health further, and I hope the listeners have also benefited as well.
Yeah, thank you. Just eat a balanced, varied diet. A little bit of everything is good for you.
And now, an Ipsum client, David, with Dreamland.
It's time for Sue's review.
Lost Connections, Uncovering the Real Causes of Depression and the Unexpected Solutions by Johann Hari. This is a brief review of a book, as well as some reflections on my personal experiences with depression. Johann Hari starts his book with a description of when he was diagnosed and started taking antidepressants at the age of 18. He was told that depression was caused by a lack of serotonin in his brain, and thus taking antidepressants, i.e. adding serotonin, would solve the problem. Over time, Hari started to question the validity of the serotonin brain chemistry theory and began to see other possible explanations. The thesis behind this book is that for most people, depression results from a series of lost connections in our world, and he suggests that once we find ways to reconnect, our depression will begin to heal. Hari argues that we have largely become disconnected from such things as meaningful, fulfilling work, from other people, and from the natural world. The first part of the book goes into some detail as he explains why he thinks the serotonin theory is false. I think this is absolutely up for debate, and I agree that simply using an antidepressant to cope is not the answer, though I have to state I am more accepting of their use than he appears to be. There's debate about the role of pharmaceutical companies and the huge amount of money involved, and I agree that modern governments have looked on pills as a relatively cheap and quick method of solving the problem. I too first took antidepressants at the age of 18, and now, close to 4 decades later, I still take them. I would not suggest a magic cure, but they, along with pretty extensive talking therapy, have played a vital role in helping me to function and stay alive. There is still discussion about how they work. Back in the 1950s, one of the first antidepressants, imipramine, was discovered accidentally. Doctors treating patients for TB with imipramine noticed that their patients reported being unusually happy. A much more modern medication, bupropion, was developed to help people cope when giving up smoking. Again, it was reported that the participants were feeling particularly happy, literally an antidepressant side effect. All this is a bit accidental, but both medications became significant antidepressant medications, and I have taken both of them for depression with measurable success. Personally, I couldn't care less how they were discovered. I understand that many meds for physical illnesses are discovered in a similar manner, and if they help raise my mood from the devastating levels of depression I have suffered, then I'm very grateful for them. In his research, Hari looked at numerous projects which help individuals reconnect with others and with their environments. He visited an Amish community in Indiana, a bicycle making and repair cooperative in Baltimore, and a doctor's surgery in London's East End, where they focus on social prescribing, offering volunteer opportunities in the community for people with depression. In recent years, I've been fortunate to join local Swindon mental wellness charities such as Twigs and Ipsum, where I have made new friends and taken part in art and gardening activities, and creative writing in the radio group here at Ipsum. Especially in the early days, I lacked confidence to really engage, and at times was still quite poorly, but very slowly my life has improved. I'm certain that connecting with these groups has helped improve my well-being. I would add another very personal example of something that has practically helped my own mental well-being. I have a young dog named Willow. I think she represents a reconnection for me on many levels. literally having a focus to get up for in the morning, having a sense of responsibility and purpose, getting exercise, eating better because I need energy, reconnecting with the natural environment, even passing the time of day with other dog walkers and raising a smile. Tick, 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 tick. It doesn't matter how you do it, but the evidence really does suggest that reconnecting helps promote better mental as well as physical health. Medication is sometimes needed when we struggle, and there is no more shame in taking antidepressants than there is in taking antibiotics. Lost Connections offers some thought-provoking discussion about depression and some inspiring examples of ways we could improve the general and mental health of so many people. Lost Connections, Uncovering the Real Causes of Depression and Discovering the Unexpected Solutions by Johan Hari, is published by Bloomsbury and is now out in paperback.
Oh, it's so sad. We've reached the end of April's show. We started the show with a tribute. Well, not a tribute even, it was the man himself, Keith Flint. But we're going to go out with Tony Martin's tribute in honour of Keith Flint. So, see you next month.